So I've gone back and forth quite a bit on whether I wanted to even do a video on this new MMO QUINFALL that everybody's talking about. They're making some really bold claims. When I first saw the trailer, I'll admit I was interested because it's the type of game that interests me. It shares a lot of features of Ashes of Creation, Throne and Liberty, those sort of open world games where the open world matters, a very huge world and things like that. However, when you start to dig into the details and get beyond the trailer, there was a lot of red flags. Definitely a lot of red flags. Some people were calling it a scam. Some people were calling it vaporware. After doing further research the last few days and seeing some of the responses by the devs, including this tweet where they talked about they are not going to sell access to their game, at least for the beta. In the future, if they would ever sell access in the current state the game appears to be in, I would call that a red flag and start to consider it a scam. But as is, I would not say there's enough evidence to say this game is a scam. But certainly I think they are way, way over their heads in terms of ambition. And I still have a lot of concerns about whether this game will ever release with all these features they're saying, or if they'll have to strip so many features out that it won't be a very good game. And so anyways, let's get into it. First, I want to show you guys this video, and I'm going to link it in my description. I just watched this video before I started recording, and I think it answers a lot of the scam questions that people had in terms of they're not selling beta, in terms of there's no NFTs and things like that, because in the description they talked about a meta world and things like that. I think it answers a lot of those questions. However, still a lot of concerns from me about this game. One of them, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but there's a lot of asset flipping, and the world might be very large, as they're saying, but it's not the biggest world. It's not the biggest MMO world we've ever seen by any stretch. It's definitely going to be one of it's going to be one of the bigger MMO worlds for sure, but not the biggest. That's a huge claim. And even still, they're going to have a huge world, but it is so empty in a lot of this footage. And we don't see a UI ever at any point in this footage, which leads me to believe it could just be CGI and not even in-game footage. Now, they do say, yes, in-game footage, but I don't know if I believe that if we're not going to see a UI. The Steam page, they make a lot of bold claims here. This is something that I find odd. This has got a planned release date of 2023, and I'm going to show you in a little bit that the company was founded in 2021, so that is also a pretty big claim. And again, even in these screenshots, you just see just a barren, empty world. And with Unity, there is a tool where you can procedurally generate land, and you could probably generate a 2016 square kilometer map, which is the size that they're saying is the world's largest MMORPG map. 2016 square kilometers. Not true, because Lord of the Rings is 77,000 square kilometers. Guild Wars 1 really isn't an MMO per se, but it's also like 28,000. I'll show you that in a little bit. And just everything looks very placeholder and store-bought assets. So I think they maybe just cranked something out really quick to try to drive interest. And at first I thought they were doing this just to sell themselves for early access, and I still wonder whether that's not ultimately the case. What they are saying is there's a closed beta planned, but they still have a planned release date on Steam of 2023, which seems impossible considering they started in 2021. On their official Discord, this guy compiled a list of all the features. Incredible amount of features. At the top, he says they have 54 employees. I'm going to show you in a little bit. LinkedIn only shows 6. Now, does that mean there's only 6 and there's not 54? I don't know, because maybe in Turkey, people don't use LinkedIn. I have no idea. And people in general are not using LinkedIn near as much as they used to like 5-6 years ago. So maybe beta in 2023. 100 facial muscles and bones you can customize in the character creator. 11 different professions. The map. It seems to be the biggest MMOR in this. Again, it's not the biggest MMORPG map. The weather, a pretty intricate weather and seasonal system and day-night cycle. Think about Throne and Liberty. Think about Ashes of Creation. They're trying to do many of the same things here. This was not in the trailer, so for PvP buffs like myself, there's like guild islands that you can capture, and you have to defend them, and there's guild wars. And also about the PvP, I read in this Discord that kind of like Black Desert Online, there's like a PvP server and a PvE server, and you can jump between the two. So if you like PvP, you go on the PvP server. If you want to just PvE, you can do that as well and not have to worry about PvP. All these things are like interesting to me. This is why I really hope, first of all, I definitely hope it's not a scam. I'm leaning towards it's not a scam, but I definitely am worried about the competency of the devs. I'm worried that they don't have a team big enough to accomplish this. We have no idea on funding, but they're saying they have enough funding. That's why they're not going to sell early access and things like that. But we shall see. And I asked about the 54 employees, and it was only 5. Yes, now they have 6 on LinkedIn. They're saying on Instagram they have 54. Okay. Biggest MMORPG maps. Lord of the Rings basically is #1 with this size, 77,000 square kilometers. I don't really consider this an MMO. I guess technically it is, and I really don't consider Minecraft an MMO, but I guess technically some people might consider it that. Asheron's Call would technically be smaller, and Guild Wars Nightfall would technically be bigger. So technically, yes, it's a huge map. Their LinkedIn, founded in 2021. And they're saying 51 to 200 employees, but we see 5 here. You go here, you see the employees. Most of these are like CFO, founder, game manager. You don't see, there's a writer, there's a 3D artist. This to me suggests, I haven't seen a single programmer, I haven't seen a single actual developer other than the 3D artist. They may have just had the artist create all this stuff for the demo, and it's a little sketchy. This is the founder. He founded this company actually technically in 2019. And I was doing some digging in the Discord. He apparently made a MMO kind of by himself called Karya Online, Karya. I tried to dig up information on this. There's not much out there other than nobody plays it anymore. So he's very young. This is his first employment ever that he's got listed on his LinkedIn. And maybe that's, why we're seeing these big, bold claims, because, he doesn't have experience in the industry except for his own company. They have a website. You can sign up for beta. I signed up. Maybe I shouldn't have, but you don't get an email response when you sign up. There's this interesting little thing. You can decrypt the runes. It doesn't do anything. So, this is from the gameplay trailer. And again, just look at how empty everything is in the biome. No UI ever at any point. And again, everything just looks very generic. Looks like stock assets or store-bought assets. They have naval combat. And again, huge scope. They want to have like arcade-style naval combat. And they have basically, I should have pulled up the Kraken from Arcade, because that's basically the boss. They're just copying like bosses from basically in the Throne and Liberty trailer. We've seen several times that sandworm boss. So they apparently wanted that in their game too. So they just bought it off the Unity store. And to be fair, I don't have a problem with an indie developer buying store-bought assets. That's what they're there for. It's not really a problem. It could be a problem if they tried to raise funding via crowdfunding. That could be a problem, because there are a lot of companies that have done that. You buy a sandworm for $40 and you sell a bunch of packs for $50, And anyways, that's my thoughts on this game. I hope it's not a scam. I don't necessarily think it's a scam after thinking about it for a few days and doing further research. But I think that they might be in over their head in terms of the scope. It's just a massive scope. So it's certainly not going to reach in 2023. It's not the biggest map. They're making a lot of incorrect claims with what they're saying. So I will keep my eye on this game. I don't anticipate I'm going to pay close attention to this game, but I'm going to keep my eye on it and see maybe they can correct some of the mistakes they've made with their announcement, and we'll go from there. If you like the video, subscribe. See you guys in the next one.